So while I'm not through to round 6 of Sock Madness, that's not going to stop me knitting, and it's just as well because I found a bigger box for them all. Hi, my name is Kirsten and welcome back to A Fire Creates, and today I'm going to be talking about my efforts in round 5 of Sock Madness, and I'm afraid to say I haven't made it through the competition into round 6, but I'm still knitting along as a cheerleader and I'm looking forward to seeing who from my team manages to get through to the final. And I did finish the socks in time, I just didn't knit them right. So it's a bit of a silly mistake, but I'll take you through what they did and the pattern and everything first. So these are the Báihuā. I'm not quite sure on the pronunciation of this one, but it's on the screen. And these are by Natalia Vasilieve, and they are these gorgeous pair of 2-colour cabled socks. Now, in the original materials list, it asked for Lang sock yarn, but in the twin, which I think is now a discontinued yarn line, and it's basically just their sock yarn but dyed in a really long gradient, so it goes very, very slowly from one colour to another. And the specs had you use two 50-gram balls, so you were effectively working from both ends of the same skein, so the gradients were sort of converging on one another, which is a bit interesting. And yeah, so I instead had a sushi roll from Easy Knits, and if you're not sure what a sushi roll is, Easy Knits that's their name for their basically sock blanks, which are the pre-knitted sort of pieces of fabric that are then dyed, and you can then unknit them, frog them. I couldn't think of the word there. And basically you get really, really nice colour transitions. It's a lot more even, and I think it's probably a lot more simple than trying to wind yarns for dyeing gradients. And mine went from a very, very dark blue to a very bright sort of aqua, almost sea cobalty kind of colour. And they do actually suspiciously look like the beads I used for the quasar socks, which is kind of funny. So I unskeined that. It does have the tendency to look like instant noodles. It's very, very curly as a yarn. I just pull up some of the scraps I've got. You can kind of see how you've got the pre-knitting. Now, I probably should have skeined this up, washed it, let it relax and then knit with it, but I forgot and I was lazy. So I started with the dark colour, and it actually specified that the cable pattern had to be done in the lighter of your two yarns. So all nice and straightforward. They took about 70 grams, so quite a bit, but it's a cabled sock, they always use a bit more. And I knitted these up on 2.25mm needles, and yeah, I'm very happy with them. So I have to admit, I mean, the whole thing with the gradient yarn I was very intrigued by, because I've used gradient yarns in Sock Madnesses before, 10 years ago in Sock Madness 10, and it was another sort of linear design where you've got them sort of fading from one colour to another, which was quite fun. If I can find a picture, I'll pop it up. But yeah, so this colourway is Sully, and very, very dark blue on the toe, which did come back to bite me a little bit, and I will explain why. So specs were dropped on the 4th of May and the pattern dropped on the 5th. I opened it up, went, ooh, cables, and then looked at the chart and went, ooh, I need to print this. So luckily I was going to an office in the afternoon and a friend very kindly printed it for me, printed off, looked at the pattern and went, oh, I can see why you need the printout of this, because the cables were like a full A4 sided page for one for each sock. So that made it so much easier where I could cross it off. And yeah, so cast on at the toe, working a sort of spiral increases, so there wasn't any defined lines or increase stages. And you can see it's really hard to see on this with it being dark. You then join the second colour, or the other end of your gradient, so to speak, and worked up the toe, from toe to the cuff area, and at this point you then split the sole stitches off on a separate needle or spare thread or a holder, and then provisionally cast on stitches for the bag. And this formed, so I'm tracing my finger on the back of the sock so you can't see that, and this sort of formed the gap for the not an afterthought heel, a forethought heel, and I presume that's named because you've actually planned where the stitches are, and it's not like an afterthought heel in the way I would do it, where you just do the line of different yarn and then just unpick it at the end. I'm not sure I found this any easier. The only advantage perhaps to it was that you could try the sock on and make sure that it fitted before you did the heel. Anyway, once you did the provisional cast on for here, you carried on up the leg, and then at this point broke off the darker end of your yarn and just did the cuff in twisted rib with the lighter. And I got on quite well. I cast these on Tuesday the 5th, and I was binding off the cuff. Didn't have the heel done, but I was binding off the cuff on Saturday morning. And then the second sock, I cast that on Saturday morning and was working my way up. And I think I got past the heel. I think I was partly on the leg by the end of Monday. And I finished them off Wednesday the 13th. Got them all done, had a go at doing the heels. There were a couple of techniques that the designer used, and she did have tutorials on her Ravelry product pages. And I can safely say I think I was too tired to really understand what it was exactly asking me to do. I think I've done it okay, but I'm honestly not sure. So yeah, got them all done, got the heels done, got confused by the techniques, took pictures of them and sent them off thinking, oh phew, I think I've done it. And then probably got an email back saying they're very, very lovely, but you have done them wrong. And I'll show you what happened. So on the design, you can see on the inside of each leg, you've got these like little wiggly line sections, which are at the start and end of the chart. And I managed to miss the fact that there was a repeat box in the chart for the leg, and that the pattern that goes around with these little bobbles should also be on the outside of the leg. So where this little wiggly line is here should be bubbles, and this side should be wiggly lines. So yeah. And I was given the option that I could frog back one of the socks to below where I'd gone wrong and re-knit it with the bobbles and resubmit. And I thought about it and I thought, I'm very tired. I don't want to have to unpick an awful lot of cables. And yeah, so I was thinking, I'm not really sure I want to do that. Plus, they'd also asked for better pictures of the toe and the heel, because with it being such a dark yarn, they couldn't actually see if I'd done the increasing and arrangements correctly. And given that I'm not sure I did the heel right, I figured it would be absolutely galling to frog back, do all of this, and then find out that the heel and the toe were wrong. So I made the decision to leave them as they are. I think they're very lovely. They might be wrong, but I still think they're very lovely. And let someone else on my team try and get the last spot for the semi-final, which is starting tonight as of day of filming, and it should be between, I think it's 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. my time that the pattern is meant to drop. So I decided, you know what, Báihuā in round 5, it's a lot further than I thought I'd get, because I was rushing around last week trying to get stuff ready for a Lego show that I was attending just this last weekend, and I thought, you know what, it's fine. I am very, very happy I got this far. I didn't think I'd actually even get them finished before the end of round. So they might be wrong, but I can live with it. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I'm now trying to finish off. I've got one pair of bonus socks still left on the needles, which are the Polyrhythm, which are, oh, they're on the floor, which are these ones. And I'll talk more about these in another video. But I'm using Rusty Ferret Doll in the colourway Deception for these, which was so much fun. So I'm hoping to try and get more of those done, and I will be netting the round 6 and the round 7 socks when they get released. And the specs for the round 7 dropped yesterday, and it's the 4-colour one, which I find quite interesting, because I genuinely thought 4 colours, that's probably going to be the final sock. But no. 4 colours for the semi-final and 3 colours for the final. So it'll be interesting to see what actually turns out with these. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Is it quite the ending I wanted for Sock Madness in terms of my competitive run? Probably not. It is frustrating when things go wrong, but it's also completely normal. And I'm happy with how far I got. So hopefully you have had more success with your socks if you are knitting in Sock Madness this year, and I will be joining you again later on this month when I have my round 6 and my bonus socks finished, and hopefully my round 7 ones as well. And if that all goes to plan, hopefully by the end of May, mid-June, I will have 14 new pairs of socks. And I think they should hopefully fit in the box that I've now put them in. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, click the like button, and if you'd like to see more from me, click subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!